Okay, so it's a new simon, Simon Reish Yud Gimel. We're moving into a new simon, and interesting halachas. Misha Yotza, someone if Motzi Acherim, someone who's already been Yotza, or wants to be Motzi himself, can he be Motzi other people? So this is very important and relevant. For example, when we make Hamotzi on a Friday night, and you've got guests, and you make Hamotzi, you Motzi other people. Do they make their own brachas? These sort of questions. So the Mechaber's got an interesting thing. It says the Mechaber in Aleph, Al Kol Peiros o Shad Dvarim, Chutz Mipas V'Yayin. On all fruit and other things, apart from bread and wine, Im Hoyu Ha'oichlim Shnayim o Yosef. If you've got two or more people eating, Echad Poite Es Chaveiroi Afilu B'Loi Heseba. In those days, Heseba means that everyone would sit down together. That was an eating session. So Echad Poite Es Chaveiroi. So on all types of fruit, apart from Pas and Yayin, one person will make a bracha and will be motzi others. Umiyu yeshiva miya boy. You need at least people to be sitting together in one eating session. The dafka pas v'yayin boy heseba, because dafka pas and yayin need more of a fixed setting, which is called heseba, where people would actually be reclining, which is the way they used to eat in those days. Or ledidan, but for us nowadays, and the Mechaber writing 500 years ago, and certainly nowadays, have a yeshiva k'mo heseba leditu, sitting down together to eat together. That's considered the heseba of old. Well, lefizeh ledidan, the less on heseba. Therefore, for us, where we don't actually recline on these recliners, they're called, I think, a chaise lounge. We used to have one back in my parents' house back in Holford Road. It's like a recliner, just as you came. It was more of a sort of. I don't think it was very practical. Ein chiluk bein pas v'yayin l'shadvarim. So there's no chiluk nowadays whether pas and yayin and other things, because really what is koveh is everyone's sitting together. The yeshiva, when everyone is sitting together, afilu pas v'yayin echad mevarech l'kulam. One person can make the bracha for everyone. V'shelo b'yeshiva, and if you're not sitting down together, then b'shadvarim nami kol echad mevarech la'atzmai. Every single person can make a bracha for themselves. Now, that which we said, one person makes a bracha for everyone, that's for everything apart from bread. That's referring to the original bracha, the opening bracha. You should divide up, and you don't have one person saying the whole of Birchas HaMazon for everyone else, but rather every single person benches for themselves. We don't do a zimun as well a Paris. Now, the Ramah says, V'yesho imrim, the b'chol hadvarim chutz mipas v'yayin lo mahani heseba. He says, nowadays, says the Ramah, that for everything, apart from bread and apart from wine, heseba, i.e. all sitting together, does not help. And so too the yeshiva nowadays. Everyone makes their own brachas. Now it's a difficult sif to explain, but the Mishnah Berurah, it's impossible to learn it without the Mishnah Berurah. So let's explain the details through the Mishnah Berurah. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah sif cotton aleph. When it comes to other foods and drinks, chutz mipas v'yayin mishum chashivi, because pas and yayin is considered chashuv. V'darkam ligboy aleim beseba. People will sit down together to eat and to drink. And their kvius, their sitting down to make it a proper session of eating, is only with heseba. Echad paite es chaveiroi ratzulema. Afilu yadeh kol echad ba'atzman levarach. Even if each person knows how to make a bracha, afilu hachi echad mevarach ha'moitzi chaver lechatchila. The preference was in those days that one person makes a bracha for everyone. For hu shechaver yishma ba'bracha mitchila vat soif yichaven lotzei. So long as the person is listening carefully and has kavanah to be yotza. And this, says the Mechaber, was preferred. The Berev Am Hadras Melech, because it's better to do things berabim, which is a well-known principle. Berev Am Hadras Melech. It's interesting. This has application in lots of things. For example, when you Kiddush Levana, do you wait for a minion to do it with, or do you chaperein? Yes, if you look at footnote 2, he says, "V'chein kosav le'el in atifas talis." When it comes to wrapping the talis, shim shnaim mesatvim ka'achas yivorach echol v'yivtes chaver mishum bereivam. Again, according to the shit of the Chaim, we don't do this nowadays. But if you've got two people coming into Shul together, according to this previous source in Simon Ches, that one person makes the bracha for the other person for the talis, both of them therefore then put on the talis, because that's considered preferable, because Rov Am Hadras Melech. And then he carries on, in Kiddush Levana, when it comes to Kiddush Levana, Kosav B'Halacha, Lekamon, Sheberovam hu ba'asara. The rovam over there is not 2 like it is with talis, but it's 10. If you know that you're going to be in a shul where they're going to be a minyan and you'll do Kiddush afterwards with 10 people, yamtin alel asiri mishum sheberovam hadros melech. You wait for that time. The Chai Odom says actually for Kiddush Levana 3 is considered the Berevam, right? And therefore in the Torah Chalavdim Mishvul Asora Adler Asor, you don't have to wait for 10 until the 10th night. Of a prat b'choref b'yimei ha'anonim, and certainly in the winter days where it's cloudy and you when you see a Levana, just get on with it. And true, but that's the concept of Berevam. I know that the Sadiger Rebbe, the current London Rebbe, his father Yisrael Moshe was the Sadiger before him, and when he came to London and his father was at the time the Rebbe, the Rebbe told Yisrael Moshe that when he comes to London, normally the minute you should wait for his machlikas, you wait for 3 days or 7 days. He goes, when you come to London, do it after 3 days. It's cloudy here. It's and it's true, isn't it? It's hard always to find the Levana. Okay, let's carry on. Sif Katan Dalid. Afilu below Seba. The dafka b'pas v'yayin, the chashivi dafka with pas and with yayin, which are considered a choshev. They would eat together on these couches. That was the way they would sit together. One person would not be met the others until they were all reclining. Because that demonstrated a sort of a joining together. Because that's not significant enough for them all to join together. Yeshiva miyaboy they're all sitting together to eat, and there's not sort of standing around. The kvias ktsas al kolponim nearby, but you need some sort of kvias, and sitting down together is the kvias. Therefore, one person can be mitzi everybody else. This is a very important line. The need for one person to be mitzi the other person, that everyone is sitting together, is only lechatchila. So long as he has in mind and you have in mind, then you're okay. So if you're standing up and you've got a suffix, did you hear the bracha? Did you make the bracha? So then 2 people are standing, even though we're not sitting together. I can be mitzi you. You have in mind. I'm having in mind to be mitzi you, and that's how you do it. Okay, Uledidon says the Mishnah Berurah Sif Cotton Vav. Nowadays we don't recline on these couches. That we sit in one table and to eat. That is considered a kviyas parallel to their reclining. Now this is very interesting. Based on this concept of sitting down, making a kviyas, this is one of the issues regarding when you make Hamichya, when you make Kiddush, Havdalah even, do you sit, do you stand, right? That's part of the whole cheshbon. So if you look at footnote 3, he says, V'chein inyan Kiddush, she'kosav haramol lekamon, she'yoyse tov leishev. The Ramah says when it comes to Kiddush, it's better to sit. Kosav Mishnah Berurah Sham, because one person is making Kiddush and is being mitzi everybody else, better everyone sits, because that is a better demonstration of kviyas. The yeshiva nechshev is kviyas, that's considered a sort of an eating session together. Even the listeners should sit. I stand for Kiddush on Friday night. Shabbos morning I sit. That's just my father used to do. So I stand Friday. So why do we stand? So Kosav b'Shat Tzion, the Mishnah Berurah writes there in the Shat Tzion, Shemashe krevim asam kedelot is nechshev k'may yeshiva. Because just having in mind to be yotze, that's considered the yeshiva, that everyone is together in that. V'chein in Havdalah, in the next paragraph there, so too with Havdalah. The Shulchan Orach writes in Reish Sadivav, the Shulchan Orach writes that when it comes to Havdalah you should sit. Kosav Mishnah Berurah Sham, why does the Mechaber say that? Since one person is being mitzi others, you need a kviyas. And standing is not really a kviyas. Again, which is what I do, that my father used to stand always for Havdalah. That's what the Ramah says. Mishnah Berurah, since the Maisa, that's what you all gathered together for. One person is being mitzi, That is considered a proper kviyas. Okay, let's so therefore, the intention or the sitting as a demonstration of kviyas is an important factor when it comes to Kiddush and Havdalah, etc., etc. Okay, Sif Kotzen Zayin. Chutz min pas. Hod ze hisker mechaber pas hocha. Mishum de pas Chaim im hem shloishe, because if there are three people, mezamnin or moitzi echad es chaver birchas hamazon. The one person can be moitzi with birchas hamazon, with benching, with actual benching, i.e., one person benches and the other person listens. When it comes to other bracha achrona, we're not moitzi. But bracha rishona, v'hatam, this only applies, he says, for bracha rishona. Mishum de bracha rishona kol echad marviach ba'isa bracha. Everyone gains. There's more of a hitzdarfus because everyone's about to eat, and one person is moitzi the other, so there's a commonality between them all. Aval bebracha shel achila, it's harder to combine everyone. Shekva ochlu v'daitim liparid. Where are they heading? They're all heading in different directions. So you need like a sort of a joining of all these people. So that's easier to achieve in the bracha rishona than in the bracha achrona. And therefore, for the bracha achrona, aim it starting vafilu b'yayin, even if it's even for wine ala gefen. Now, this again important. If, however, you have in mind to be yotze, and he has in mind to be moitzi you, a person can always be moitzi the other person if both people have that in mind. And certainly, if one person does not know how to make a bracha, he can certainly be yotze from the other person's bracha. Very, very interesting. Nowadays, many people are a bit lax when it comes to bracha achrona. Do a survey when people are leaving a Kiddush Shabbos morning and they've eaten cake and roglach. How many have made a bracha achrona? I don't know. It's good that someone stands up lechatchila and makes an Hamichya for everyone. Of a prat of bracha achrona main sholish, and certainly with Hamichya, she'ena kol bekiyim ba. The ein mitzvah balpeh. Not everyone knows it by heart, but v'alei tov lasses ken lechatchila. Therefore, lechatchila, one should really do that if you're worried that people are not going to make a Hamichya. Or mikol makom tov yez Hashem mavarech milah b'milah. And it's good for the listeners to do it milah b'milah. And that's why in school, for after breakfast we daven and then we have breakfast, and we've introduced about a year ago. One person says Hamichya out loud for everybody, and that way, people, it's on the radar. However, interestingly, he says in footnote 6, V'sudasha b'nei Torah. If you've got people who are b'nei Torah, das hagon Chaim Scheinberg, she'ein tzorich le'itzas hataz, shar mi shebaki odif shevarach ba'atzma. It's preferable that each person makes themselves. I must be honest with you, in the morning when after my cereal for breakfast, although one person makes it everybody, I make my own one. Because it's better for a person to make his own Hamichya, but for the Hamoinam, that people might forget that's why we instituted. Okay, the ein zimmer leperis sif kotzen yud hainu the kiven the ein mitzvah zimmer leperis lezdamin yachad v'lema nevarich shachanu mimele tzarich kol echad levarich la'atzmei v'loi lotis v'richas haveir v'ayin el simen kufta the gimel sif kotzen vov b'mishnah berurah. Now this is going on the Ramah. The Ramah says yesh omrim the b'chol hadvarim chutz v'pas v'yayin lo mahani haseba. So koi areish hasif. This is going on the beginning of the sif. Abracha rishona v'taimam, and the reasoning is the dafka pas v'yayin dechashivi, dafka pas and yayin, which is choshev mahani haseba or yeshiva ledon or are sitting. Masha'enkein b'shad dvarim delei chashivi. The other things are not so choshev. You don't sit down and have an apple together, things like that. So therefore, for other things, everyone should make their own bracha. V'imbo peiros teichasuda echad mevarech l'kulam to migu de mahani haseba lepas mahani nami l'shad dvarim. Since the haseba, the yeshiva, that everyone's sitting together, one eating session works for bread, it works for other things as well. Okay, and therefore the Ramah concludes v'lochein achshav nagu achshav. Bepeiros shekol echad mevarich la'atzmai, says the Mishnah Berurah Yud Beis v'uadin b'shar dvarim, and so too with other things as well. Or the Indian sheikh or made vashakarin made to have that drink, which is like mead, it's called. Ayin ba'olas tomid v'taz mogen avram doha'idna noagin shegam b'zeh kol echad mevarich la'atzmai. Well, the Indian yayin regarding wine, mashal me'aramov v'chein mevu b'darkei Moshe to gamle didon mahani haseba yeshiva. It does help. Avol kama achronim heilu It's better that each person makes their own bracha on wine. Because we don't really do that nowadays to sort of have a drinking session. We all sort of sit down and drink wine together. It's not so done, and therefore better when it does happen that everyone should just make their own brachas. It depends on the common practice. When there's a lot of wine and people just sit down and drink together, then the yeshiva, the commonality of mind, everyone's sitting together, works, and one person can be made to the other. That nowadays, says the Mishabura, that we generally we're not moitzi other people with food, even though the strict letter of the law in the Shulchan Orach is that you should. This is a major problem, because perhaps, says the Mishabura, nowadays people don't have the requisite kavana, i.e. that I'm being yotze, the person is being moitzi me, etc. And therefore, again, Ava b'di'evet im beirach v'kiven lohetzi chaver v'ashemen is chaven notzeis af p'le'aseba v'yeshiva klal nami yosef. B'di'evet, you're moitzi another person, the other person has in mind, then we're good. Let's just finish with footnote 11, interesting. V'af l'inyan pas, kosov le'el, shahayoim, in other words, when it comes to a Shabbos meal, people are eating, and one person is making hamoitzi, how do you do it? So he says nowadays, that as we've said in the Mishnah Berurah, the preference is nowadays that everyone makes their own brachas. Yes, we said, the Mechaber says in Siman Ches, that one person makes the bracha on tzitzis and is moitzi other people because of Rov Hadras Melech. That's not the practice nowadays. Maybe the reason is, like we said before, that people don't always have in mind to be yotze. Very interesting. Says Reb Vosna, the minhag is in his area, he was in Bnei Brak, that when a person gets the piece of challah or gets a bit of wine from Kiddush, that each individual makes their own hamotzi and makes their own ber pragofen. Because did you have in mind properly to be yotze? We're in Kiddush, we don't always think about it, and therefore, says the Vosna, each person makes their hamotzi and their ber pragofen. You've got to listen from beginning to end with the Shem Hashem properly to have in mind that you're being yotze. And a lot of people just don't do that. If, however, you do have it in mind, then of course it works. You're not sure if you made a bracha or not, so certainly that is a situation to do it. Okay, say that. Leave it now.